I am very pleased to introduce you to our fearless leader, Dave Landa, Kintone CEO, who will be introducing you to some of Kintone's customers who share how they connect with their team, their data, and their future. Dave has been at the forefront of cloud revolution, driving strategic business developments on executive teams of multiple leading software as a service application providers dating back to 2004. He also sits on the board of fitness and health organization Fit America, which encourages Americans to take control of their personal health through fitness. Welcome, Dave. Got it.
Appreciate it. All right. Great. Well, thank you all for coming today on a rainy Friday. I really appreciate everyone coming out. And welcome to Kintone Connect. So incredibly excited for our very first conference here in the US. Just big thanks to our internal organization, Brittany, and the marketing team for putting this amazing event on. Obviously, want to thank all of our customers who've made it out today and all of our partners. I especially want to put a big thank you out, get past there, big thank you out to everyone who came in from Japan, actually. Really amazing. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. For those of you who don't know, our corporate headquarters, Saibozu, is holding their corporate event, which is a huge 4,000 plus attendee event next week. So everyone who's come out here today are turning around tomorrow and heading back. So again, super big thank you to you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. So I hope you guys are ready for, I know hopefully the stomachs aren't grumbling too much yet. We'll get to lunch in a bit. But I want to get through this and we'll try to move as quickly as possible. But first off, big thank you to, really special thank you to our NPO clients. This is just a small cross-section of our clients in the NPO space, but it's, you know, you talk about heroes, and we talk about this conference as being a conference to try to empower folks, anyone, everyone, to be heroes in their organizations. Well, you know, the folks working the NPOs are the real-life heroes. Think about kind of this season of natural disasters and political polarization. It's just always great to see, you know, the goodness in humanity which these NPOs represent. So huge shout out. Our parent Saibozu has been a huge supporter of NPOs for years, highlighting some of the leading NPOs in Japan who are really bringing tremendous teamwork and making meaningful contributions to changes in the Japanese society. And you know, we are very inspired by that and committed to do that same thing here in the US. We'll be talking a little bit more about our NPO clients with one of our guest heroes, and also talk a little bit more about some programming around NPOs we'll be doing in the future. Very excited about. All right, so rebrand. Some of you folks may be familiar with the fact that we're in the process of rebranding from our traditional cloud into a, right here, the building block heart logo. Again, really excited about this transformation. Essentially, we feel that this building block heart captures the core of the Kintone platform best. It is essentially, you know, Kintone is kind of a Lego-like building block platform that enables anyone to build solutions and systems to make their lives, to make their work much more efficient and productive, and really to be able to love those processes and love their data. And that's really what we're thinking about with this transition. Just a quick side note for anyone who might be here who was at our rebranding launch party. I will not be taking my shirt off today. Don't worry about that. Some of you didn't know that happened, but if I were to do that, my wife would kill me. So that's not happening. So don't worry. So we have transitioned, and we are transitioning our logo and our messaging and our brand. But one thing that Osamu mentioned this morning that we are not changing is our mission. For 20 years, it's been the same. It is now, and it will be into the future. This is really the core of what we do. It's making teamwork better globally. And to think about how we do that with Kintone, it's really about the enabling tools, 3 core platform pillars. And these are enabling tools. The first one being, of course, the ability to enable anyone to create custom database applications, from simple to actually very sophisticated applications. So that's step one, creating those database applications, and then layering on the workflow management piece. So you can push the data in those applications through a process. And the third element is collaboration. And with Kintone, collaboration is really built into the DNA of the solution. So those 3 core pillars really drive the essence to help make teamwork better. There's a lot more to the platform, but really all those other features and functionalities are in service to these 3 core elements. So we actually, more than just offering tools to the marketplace to be able to help companies transform and be more productive, we actually aspire to quite a bit more, and Osamu spoke about this, but really one is, we want to be a platform for digital transformation, of course, but we also want to be a vehicle for a solutions revolution, which I think folks have talked about. Chuck, and I'll thank Chuck and thank Jason for talking earlier about some of these concepts we're going to hit on now, but we really want to inspire people and drive people through this platform to drive more positive, productive, creative change in their organization, right? We talked about democratize. So again, we want to democratize the development process in order to actually democratize organizations, really so that you can bring the power to anyone in an organization who feels so empowered, who has that desire to be part of the participation age, to solve problems. So everyone in the organization can actually become a problem solver using solutions and the tools we provide. And the platform also, we want to bring the power and the productivity of radical transparency. So open platform where data is out there, everyone in the organization can see it, act on it, respond to it. We think that's essential to sort of a modern organization. And again, this sort of process or inline collaboration, where as folks are doing things, they're collaborating. You're doing work, you're collaborating, you're working with a team. So the nice thing is we've been putting a lot of effort into these tools and these concepts, and thankfully, folks are starting to recognize that. And Gartner, I think we'll talk a little bit about this, but we were recognized by Gartner in that first application platform as a service in 2016, and thankfully, we're not in the low productivity, but we are in the high productivity application platform as a service Magic Quadrant. So really excited about that, the HPAPAAS. That's a mouthful, but wait, there might be a bigger mouthful. And then also, most recently, is the fact we've been selected by Forrester for their 2017 New Wave, which is this low-code platforms for business users. So really super excited and proud of our development team, our product team, our marketing team, with all the effort that they put in to be able to attain these 2 really amazing accolades. When you think about it, I'm not sure if there's another Japanese-based software company out there that's ever been on these 2 most kind of prestigious lists from these global IT research leaders. So it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. Really, really super excited about that. And, well, kind of secretly, getting back to the acronyms, I was kind of secretly thinking it would be great if Gartner and Forrester could get together and put together this acronym, the HPAPAAS-FBU, or the High Productivity Application Platform as a Service for Business Users. I think this one right here, we might want to call the folks at the Guinness Book, because I think this is the first double-digit acronym in tech history. So pretty excited about, about that. But seriously, huge accomplishment for our team to get on both of these lists, and really excited about that. So stepping back to transformation, you know, we talked about this ambition or this aspiration to be part of really to be part of a larger conversation. You know, not just being the provider of tools to help drive this transformation, but actually participating in the conversation around the policy and the culture that helps with those tools drive this not only digital, but also societal transformation. You know, Saibozu has been very engaged in Japan on the government and corporate level around policy and culture in the workplace. And again, we here in the US aspire to do that same thing, to get involved in those conversations and be a part of that conversation here in the US. I think there's been a lot of talk in the US recently, and in Silicon Valley in particular, around gender issues, inclusiveness, diversity, right? But Saibozu and Kintone actually for a long time have been putting their money where their mouth is. You can see here, Saibozu has over 700, I'm going to change that slide, and those are not going to be employees anymore, Chuck. So that's now 700, over 700 team members, over 700 stakeholders, and over 40% of those are women, which is a pretty astounding statistic for a Japanese technology company. Moreover, here in the US, our Kintone, again, stakeholders, over 50% women. And I think even more telling is our engineering number. So US engineers, over 60% are women. So really kind of forward thinking. I think it kind of speaks for itself. But additionally, thinking about policies. Our CEO in Japan, Aono-san, he was the first and only CEO of a publicly traded company on the Tokyo First Stock Exchange to take paternity leave. And it wasn't like a you know, Johnny-come-lately. I heard about Mark Zuckerberg doing it, so I jumped on the bandwagon. No, he's had 3 children, and he's taken 3 paternity leaves. And so, yeah, kind of a Zuckerberg times 3, if you will. In addition to that, we have, we'll call it a policy, but it's based on a principle, 6-year maternity leave, which means not that they're paid all 6 years, but women who take leave will have their jobs guaranteed back in the company up to 6 years from that moment. Pretty amazing. And then mama internships is another thing that our Saibozu headquarters has spearheaded. Basically, again, women who have taken leave to raise their children, gives them an opportunity to come back into the workforce, learn skills that are applicable in the modern day, and then find you know, permanent employment moving forward. And then a last thing that Osamu had touched on as well is a concept around you know, every individual having their own way of working and their own personality and family issues. So we have this concept of there being 100 different people needing 100 different work styles. And so again, that's very much a principle. How the policies shape out, we're still kind of working on that, but that's a concept that we work on. And you know, I guess it's not a big surprise that at least in my mind, that we were actually voted the #1 best place to work for women in Japan in 2017. An accolade that we're probably every bit as excited about as we are for the product accolades. All right, so moving on, it's not just women, though, that we really seek to support and empower and enable with Kintone. It's really anyone with the desire to become part of that participation age that Chuck just spoke about. It's anyone who wants to make a difference and has an inclination to make their work more productive, right? To bring more of a balance to their work and life. Those are everyone that we're really interested in trying to empower with the Kintone platform. And I think it's resonating with folks. As Osamu mentioned, this is Saibozu numbers from 2010. In 2011, we transitioned from an on-premise business to a cloud business, rolled out the cloud solutions with Kintone driving that. And quite miraculously, within 5 years, we've been able to take the cloud business and overcome the on-premise business without the on-premise business dropping off in any noticeable way. So we're now well over 50% cloud business, and most of that driven by the Kintone platform. And further to Kintone, so we now have over 7,500 paid organizations using the Kintone platform, over 100 new organizations coming on every month. And all of those folks, including some of the largest technology companies in the world, to the US Space Agency, to different size organizations from small to large. And they've now built over 340,000 custom applications and deployed them on the platform, and are every day launching almost 900 new applications. So a very, very active platform. And just to give some context, OutSystems, kind of one of our competitors, who's been out in the market for a long time, 15 years, you talk about the low-code, no-code dichotomy. They're very much from the rapid application development space. And for 15 years, they've been focused really on the developer-only market. Only developers can use this low-code model for them. And as a result, in 15 years, they have 800 clients. If you look at Kintone right now, every 6 months, we're adding an additional 800 clients to our client base. So I think we're kind of tied into something that the participation age hits on, and I think what Jason was talking about. There is this trend, there is this revolution going on, and I know it's not all millennials, but it's ingrained in the millennials' upbringing. They're digital natives, right? They're used to technology and good technology and technology that works for them, and they are now the largest proportion, well, the largest generation in U.S. history. And they're streaming into the workforce, and they are having an impact where they see solutions that aren't working for them. They're going to go out and find ones that will, or they're going to build them. They're not all coders, mind you, but they all have an expectation for meaning. But they also have an expectation for something that works, that is efficient and optimizes their work. So I think this revolution is growing as the millennials join into the workforce, and it's compounded with the transition or the transformation of the IT spend moving more throughout the organization. How technology is purchased now throughout organizations is much more democratized, and that also fits in here. So quickly, we believe that those trends, the policy and the cultural trends that are moving in a direction, are supporting the use of these types of tools that empower the participation age, empower individuals. And Forrester, this is a look at their low-code development growth expectations. So growing from under $3 billion last year to over $21 billion in 5 years' time. And I think that speaks to the possibilities, speaks to this trend very powerfully in terms of lots of people getting involved in this movement and this revolution. All right, so with that, I think I may have run a little bit over, but I think it's time to bring on our heroes, our solutions revolution heroes. And our first one, Adil Zaidi, please come out. Thank you so much. Adil, thanks for having me. Good to see you. Have a seat. So Adil is Director of Operations of Bandwave Systems there, and you're basically the guy who's responsible for managing the operations of Bandwave, which incredibly fast-growing company. Has been on Inc. 5000's fastest-growing private companies for 3 years running.
Yep.
Right? So really appreciate you coming and joining us on stage and coming out to San Francisco.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I have family here, so coming out and seeing them is always a treat. So I appreciate you having us here.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you know, speaking of family and speaking of heroes, as you know, as I just mentioned, this event is, you know, one of the themes is about heroes and making heroes. But you actually have a real life hero in your family, right? We were talking before about your family member out here who is involved in the Napa and Sonoma fires. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my brother, he works for the Santa Clara County Police Department. And once the wildfires broke out, they dispatched 20 or so of them to the North Bay to assist in helping people out. And just kind of being there for like a support system. So, you know, just hats off to everyone who contributed to that. And, you know, like they make our lives much easier, obviously. So, you know, it's just a part of life, but that's what they do. Yeah,
that's amazing. I know I have a personal connection there. My mom was an evacuee for a week. And so, you know, I want to, number one, thank your brother, and please thank him for me for his service. That's really amazing. But those obviously are the true heroes, risking lives there. Right. But not to undermine your level of heroism in terms of transitioning an organization and transforming an organization. So I'm going to just take a look at my notes here. I think I've got most of the questions. But anyway, back to Bandwave. Can you? We're not going to run the video, but can you give us a quick intro into what Bandwave does?
Sure. So Bandwave is a broadband aggregator. The video will get into a little bit into that. So what we do is we provide internet services for enterprise customers throughout the country. We provide the provisioning services, technical support, and post-install support, and we encompass all that into one billing platform. Okay. So the video will obviously cover that, so we can just kind of get into that.
I think we're running a little tight on time when we get people to eat, so I think we're going to skip the video, if that's all right. But obviously, pretty complex business, and you know, you're managing operations. Kind of, what are some of the key processes that you need to manage to manage the scale, but to manage the operations?
Yeah, so some of the things that we have to do is we have to be able to quote our customers and our agents quickly. We have to be able to turn around those services and install them quickly. And once the services are installed, we need to be able to manage them. So we needed an agile type of a database that can really take control and help us complete everything out in a timely manner, actually faster, because we're a lean company, which kind of goes to our growth. So you know, we needed an application that can really perform, and that's kind of what Kintone's been doing for us.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously you're using Kintone, but can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to Kintone, kind of where you started?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started with a custom database. A lot of growing companies in a niche business like ours, we feel that we can't really buy an off-the-shelf type of a software or database that can handle what we do. So initially we went in, we had a company come in, a database company come in. They gave us all the bells and whistles, said this is such a niche business, we'll need to customize it for you. So we went down that road with them. 6-7 months later, we're still at the same crossroads as we were, importing data from our old system into the new one that caused problems. Tables weren't lining up. So it took us months to clean that data as well. So now we're at a point where we're dumping money into this custom database, we're dumping time into this custom database. So we figured, let's go ahead and seek alternative solutions. So that's when I found Kintone.
Yeah, and how did you come across kind of the low-code solution? How did you come across Kintone?
Yeah, so just searching, kind of like an off-the-shelf. There's another company out there, sales something, I don't know exactly what they're called. So we looked into them, that company, and we just felt like Kintone was was a better fit for us because there was customization that we needed within Kintone,
Yep.
but we felt like it was scalable and easy for our internal employees to do it.
Yep.
And that really caught us because we felt that instead of hiring one person to manage our database and to kind of take control of it, we needed people who understand our business.
Yep.
We needed people who can really take us to the next level quickly and effectively, and that's what we found.
So the people who are running the operations can actually manage the systems and solutions and change them with the changes that are occurring in the organization.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how many applications did you build on Kintone initially? Just one, or?
Yeah, initially we built two,
Okay.
our ticketing system and our provisioning system, because those are the most important aspects of our business.
Okay.
Since then, we've now launched a quoting tool, which will gather all of our pre-install our quoting system.
Okay.
And that's converted to now an order. So we've lightened the load pretty much on our provisioning team. So you take it from a quote into an order much quicker.
Wow.
So.
Okay. So would you consider kind of what you're doing on Kintone as mission critical operations now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, the majority of our business is run through Kintone, again, from order entry and now into support. So it's something that we use every day, and it's fast. It works really well for us.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long did it take you to kind of get up and running with Kintone just from the start?
Yeah, so I reached out to Kintone. It was August 2016. And we were fully up and operational by December, the second week of December.
All right.
And initially, I was really skeptical when we tried to hit that target date because of just how many issues we had coming into it. But it was pretty remarkable how we were able to kind of just flow into it. Adoption was really easy with with the employees. Stakeholders. Yep. It was the adoption was great.
Yeah.
And it was just a complete buy-in because everyone saw the value of it.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. Okay, I guess one other thing, I know, Kintone, talk about it no code, but it's definitely low code as well. So start with the no code conceit, build a lot of solutions out, sophisticated solutions. But then there's other things to add on. There's extensions. So there's one in particular, an extension called KViewer that you've used. How have you deployed that? How does that?
KViewer's been amazing. So we've always wanted to interface with our customers and have them or give them the ability to see what locations they have installed, technical details like IP information, and we wanted them to be able to see their contract dates, things like that. So get real granular with their information. Before we were working with spreadsheets, someone had to go in, data dump, and then submit it. But now with KViewer, it's live, it's real-time data, and it's really given us the advantage of really using our employees to the maximum capacity. Awesome,
awesome. Well, that's great. Is there anything else right now you're thinking about, like extending Bandwave or extending Kintone within Bandwave?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be going paperless pretty soon. Okay. That's been pretty big for us. We want to make sure that if we expand our operations to other states, we're currently looking at Florida to expand our operations there. So if we expand, it'll be much easier if we're paperless. Yep. And we're also looking to have more of our data available to us and just kind of run reports to see how customers are doing, profitability, and run those type of things.
Yeah, dig into the analytics tool there, that additional pre-built service. All right.
Yep.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you, Adele. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming up.
Great.
Talking a little bit about your experience.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, so I think two quick thoughts on Adil's experience with Kintone and Bandwave's experience. Number one is this idea of having a system that can change with the speed of your business change, especially as it's scaling rapidly. Right? Having a software solution that you can make the changes on the fly by the people who know the changes that need to be made, rather than there being a disconnect between maybe the developers and the operations folks. So a real DevOps experience, if you will. That, and then also this idea of the gap. Kintone is a very good solution in between kind of the point solution or the off-the-shelf solution, where at some point that square peg just doesn't fit in the round hole anymore, and the big hand-coded custom development projects. So it's kind of right in that in-between gap area, something to think about. All right, so let me bring up our next Kintone hero of the solutions revolution, Betsy Thurlow. Betsy, hey Betsy, thank you. Thanks very much for coming up. So Betsy is the network administrator for McCormick Distillers, and McCormick has some pretty amazing history, right? 160 plus years, one of the oldest still operating distiller west of the Mississippi in the same location. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. We're founded in 1856, and we're one of the oldest business in the Kansas City area. Kind of a remarkable history. It was founded by the stagecoach king, Ben Holiday, and his brother on land that was originally chartered by Lewis and Clark in 1804.
Wow.
So, has some history. Yep.
That's pretty amazing. And you guys are cranking out some award-winning tequilas and vodkas and some old moonshine as well, yeah?
Some of our premium products are 360 vodka, Broker's Gin, Tequila Rose, and others. We recently started distilling bourbon and doing distillery tours for the first time in 30 years. So.
All right, so which one's your favorite?
I'm looking forward to trying the bourbon, but it's still aging, so, but probably the 360 Huckleberry Vodka.
360 Huckleberry Vodka.
Vodka.
That sounds pretty good. All right, so we're going to have a little taste test later on today.
I did actually bring some products, so everybody can try it at the happy hour. So.
Maybe not yet. It's not, I don't know. Is it past 12? But at least at the happy hour. Okay, great. So McCormick, big long history. How long have you been with McCormick?
About 2 years.
All right, so relative newcomer then. Okay. So when you came into McCormick in sort of the IT area, the network admin area, what did you experience or what did you see in terms of some of the processes and the systems and kind of the way business was done?
Sure. There was a lot of paper, email, phone processes, some that you even had to walk to somebody to get a signature. Not a lot of audit trails and accountability. So.
Gotcha. Which is not that unique. And, businesses that have been around for a long time that got into a groove of how they do things, and change is not all that easy. So what was the particular process that prompted you, to have a need to come and look for and find Kintone?
Sure. The purchase of Kintone started, we were looking for a workflow management software that would have audit trails. We had mostly with accounting processes at the time, but we had an accountability issue arise, and we needed a quick solution, and Kintone looked like it would be that solution for us. So.
And how did Kintone help resolve those issues?
Sure. With Kintone, I was able to quickly program an application that took those manual processes and made them electronic. There was more accountability and information sharing and communication. And the learning curve was really simple for the end users. A couple weeks, we'd taken a very manual process and made it electronic. And it was pretty exciting to see the end users realize how Kintone could help them and start bringing us more things to use it for.
So just a couple weeks, and you're up and running. That's amazing. Well, what did you, as kind of an IT, coming from an IT standpoint, what did you find appealing about Kintone?
Sure. We looked at several softwares, and this one was appealing. It was just so simple to learn the workflow process, and you could just, I have an IT background, but not programming, so you could jump right in and have an application pretty much within minutes after you got used to the flow of it.
What happened when you deployed it? Now, obviously, like I said, an older organization's been doing things a certain way. So what happened after you deployed Kintone, that first app? Did it good take up, or was there challenges?
It went pretty smoothly, and after the first one, people would come to me to do more. We've done maintenance requests, expense reports, even applications that don't have a workflow, like visitor logs and sales notes, things like that. So.
Interesting. So members of the organization started coming to you and asking, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And you started generating more applications to fill those needs. That's great. You had mentioned something about a like sales team app and visits. Sounds very mobile intensive. How were you doing the sales team visits? How were you managing, or how was the sales team managing those visits before Kintone?
Sure. It was Excel documents on Google Drive, so it was not very user-friendly. They would go do their visits. They'd have to edit the Excel document, enter their notes. The sales and marketing manager had to then every month take all that data, do reporting and graphs off of it, so it was very tedious for her and not user-friendly for the sales force.
And now with Kintone, what does that look like?
I've built 2 apps for them. One is Daily Notes and the other is Account Focus, and they can enter through the app or through the website, they can enter their visits. And then the manager, she loves it because she can filter and report and do everything really quickly that took her, I don't know, days or weeks to do before. So.
That's awesome. So how did, obviously that's one data point of a manager. How did management in general take to Kintone?
Sure. I've heard they seem to like it. They like the audit trails, the accountability. They like how quickly they can approve anything from a purchase request to an expense report. So.
And the other stakeholders and users? How about that?
I have not heard anything negative. It's been all positive. And I mean, they must like it because they bring new problems.
Keep bringing more problems for you to solve.
Yep.
Awesome. How would you, we've talked a little bit about the sort of culture and policies and how those interact with the tools. Is there anything that you see or you can talk to about at McCormick, how this tool coming in, Kintone, how it may have had any impact on actual culture or policy at this stage? Or is it too early to tell if there's any actual impact there?
I think from the data standpoint of it, look at my notes, sorry.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, before Kintone, we didn't even realize what our pain points were, and now that we've implemented it, we get frequent requests, and the added bonuses that I've learned more about the company and about the processes. I'm more familiar with coworkers that I didn't have to work with before, and I became more needed at the company, and I just felt like I had a more fulfilling job. So.
Well, that's great. Fantastic. Well, it sounds like it's been an excellent experience. I thank you,
Yes.
Betsy,
Thank
for
you for
coming.
having me.
Thank you for talking.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right. Well, look forward to happy hour. All right. Great. Thank you. So next up, Tim Eddingfield. Hey, Sam. All right. Good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you too.
Welcome. All right. So Tim is the founder of Gadgeteer, and Gadgeteer is a consulting company that essentially consults for NPOs to help them. Well, you go ahead and tell me. Yeah.
The Gadgeteer is a sole proprietorship. It was started last year by myself as in need of finding employment, and my passion is nonprofits. The work they do, the heroes of our world. Yeah. And I was hooked on nonprofits from the very beginning.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. We are definitely thankful for the work you've done. You've brought some nonprofits to us, and you've supported them in the process of sort of transforming how they operate using these tools. But I guess maybe you can step back, tell us a little bit more about your background, and why is it you have this passion for supporting and helping nonprofits?
When I was 16, I went to high school, and we had a project that we wanted to start. It was called a clothes closet for our homeless youth. And at North Bend High School, we had about 90 homeless youth within the year, and there were no services for them to receive clothing or help from the school. So myself and my counselor, Heidi Rowe, we went to the school board and we said, we need this. They told us to get buy-in. So myself and a few of my friends, we got our clipboards together and we went and we petitioned. And then we had to generate a report, so we all put it into an Excel spreadsheet and presented it. And it was my first experience presenting to an actual board. And I loved it. I loved the effect it had. And then when we started the closed closet, it just grew. And looking back now and seeing where it is now, it's still ran by students, which is my passion. My biggest passion is youth leadership. That whole stakeholder, what was his name? Chuck. Yes. Chuck, talking about stakeholders and not employees, but stakeholders. That's what I want to see in the future for all organizations, especially for nonprofits. And from that point on, I went to college and worked as a volunteer coordinator and connected nonprofits together for common projects. Beach cleanups, we had Solve, we had Surf Riders, we had all kinds of different ones that were in their own silos. But once we brought them together, we had an even bigger impact. And it just keeps on growing. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, so it's really, you can see it's very much the core of who you are and what you do, so it's wonderful. You know, as you've been involved now through high school and then college with a lot of different organizations, and now outside of college with the operations of many different nonprofits, what are you seeing as some of the sort of key challenges for some of these local nonprofits and nonprofits in general?
So key challenges that nonprofits are facing are, well, one, they're stakeholders. They are there for the mission, the passion. They aren't there for the data. They aren't there to be entering stuff in Excel or doing any kinds of calculations unless that's part of the mission. But grants, they require that data. They require that kind of reporting, and they require you to be able to show impact. And you can't just say, well, we went and we helped a bunch of people, that's impact. Not for some grants. Some grants say we need actual numbers. And tracking that is hard for especially smaller nonprofits with low budgets. Being able to track volunteer hours, a lot of nonprofits don't realize that you can say that volunteer hours are in kind. And that really shows community engagement, community involvement, and support from your community on a financial level. And Kintone is able to do that like that.
Yeah. Well, what was the process, you know, for you to come to Kintone? You must have been using other tools previously. Was there a process to come to Kintone, and what led to you finally moving to low code? No code?
So the process was I was an intern for New Community Coalition, and they said we need a database solution. I just was in college and learning about Access, so I said, oh, I will make an Access database. That crashed. That did not work very well. So we started with Excel, we went to Access, and then we said, well, we need to find a different place. So we went through 10 different database solutions. We went through, there's something called Little Green Light. If you've heard of it, you probably haven't. It's really awful. There's a donation manager, there's grant tracker and all those things. Grant tracker is pretty good, but it's only for grants. You can't track volunteer hours. You can't track impact. You can't track those things.
And is it important to be able to track all those things in one location?
Heck yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
You would not believe how many nightmare stories from a bunch of clients I've had have said that they need that one place to just go and be able to track volunteers, track donations, grants, and everything, because that is going to make it better. That's going to make it faster and more efficient. Because if they can just click one button, go to one application, close it, go to another one, close it, and then they're done. They don't have to go to another site and log in. They don't have to remember a bunch of logins. And they don't have to pay for 5 different services.
Yeah. So how about now? Do you have a specific use case that you're working on now, and
Yes.
what you're thinking about doing?
So shout out to Alternative Youth Activities. They're my current client.
Okay.
And they are embodying the stakeholder mentality. So I say it's my dream job because it is.
Gotcha.
And what we're doing, we are a school, we are an alternative school, and we are tracking data for student attendance, we're tracking data for student progress, we're using the actual teaching softwares, they generate reports, and we use those reports and we integrate them into Kintone, which allows us to get the kind of data we need to be able to show impact and be able to show progress to our accreditation board. And this year, we are getting reaccredited, so this is huge and very important.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, I know I've been a little bit long, running a little bit late, but really quickly, what do you have on the horizon right now? Do you have something that you're thinking about wanting to work on?
Well, I'd like everyone to imagine the homeless problems that we have, how there's so many different nonprofits that work with homeless, but they aren't integrated, they aren't connected to where, let's say, homeless Bob, okay, goes to nonprofit A. He gets services, he gets food, he gets a blanket or something, but then he doesn't have a place to live, he doesn't have those kind of services, so he goes to nonprofit C, and he gets served there. But here's the thing, each nonprofit requires you to fill out paperwork. They require you to be in their system, they require you to get their service, but imagine if they're all integrated. Bob goes to the first one, puts in his application, puts in his paperwork, it goes to an integrated database, Kintone, and then nonprofit C can search for Bob in the integrated database and be able to see, okay, he's received service from that place, these are the things that they said he needs, we can help him with those. And then they can send that report to an actual caseworker with a community action program and say, this is the next step.
Excellent.
That will speed up the services, that will make better impact, and will save us more time, more money, and be able to get more people off the streets.
Awesome. That's fantastic. That's a great vision. I think that's a project for us to work on.
Yes.
So let's definitely do that. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming up. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. Excellent. Thank you, Betsy, Adil, and Tim. Really appreciate you guys coming out and chatting with me about that. So quickly on to our final segment here. I know everyone's getting hungry, but I want to talk about what's coming, what's new at Kintone. And I think there's really 5 main themes over the next 12 months and things that we're going to be focused on and launching. And the first, just coming right off of a conversation with Tim, it's a new NPO program and tools. Number one, really excited about, we're going to be rolling out a freemium program so that most, probably maybe all, of our NPOs would be able to have these tools free of charge to be able to make their work, their solutions more efficient, more productive. We're also going to be, on top of that, preparing and implementing sort of a pre-built solution suite that will quickly and easily enable these NPOs to get up and running. That would be, templates for them to be able to then customize from there. And then also the idea of an enhanced community. So a location, an online digital location for these NPOs to be able to share best practices and share challenges and tips on how to manage those challenges. So that is something we're really excited about in the NPO program. The next element is integration. So we really want to continue to focus and double down on our no-code integration capabilities. And Zapier is one that we've been integrated for a while. They enable our clients to be able to integrate seamlessly and manage automated workflows with over 750 other services. And it is something that a lot of our clients are using now, but we want to build additional triggers, and we will be building additional triggers and launching those over the next several months to be able to enable our clients to build deeper and broader integrations between the different services to manage the data more seamlessly among services. And doubling down on this no-code integration focus. So we have built integration with Microsoft Flow, and that is targeted for launch by the end of this year. And this is really exciting. So Flow, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of an answer to Zapier from Microsoft's standpoint. It's a no-code integration hub, starting off with about a little under 200 different services. And what's interesting about it is it's two things. One is there's a much deeper integration capabilities with all of the Microsoft tools, number one. And number two is that you can also integrate with on-premise solutions. So running through quickly, another big thing, compliance. We're expanding our compliance. HIPAA, we're in process now. We're targeting for compliance letter first quarter next year. So that's come on the heels of lots of requests, lots of interest from the healthcare community for our solutions. So that's in the works. Resources in general. With our rebranding, we are also relaunching our website, and we're bringing a ton of more resources to help all of our heroes in their journey to develop solutions to the problems that they're working on. So more use cases, customer stories, more visual and video aids. And then our help documentation as well, deeper and richer with enhanced search capabilities. So that's also in the works, coming soon. Mobile, a new mobile app. We'll be having our product, our beta launch, first quarter. It's basically a standalone, separate app, really focused on the power users out on the road from a mobile-centric point of view, a mobile-first point of view. Really excited about this. We had some user testing a couple weeks ago and some really phenomenal feedback. Yeah, again, beta testing first quarter. If there are any clients out there who are interested in that, contact your account executive. We'll get you into the beta testing. Really big news here, actually. These last few are huge. So we will be transitioning Kintone platform from our own data center, our own managed cloud, into public infrastructure as a service. So think AWS, Google Cloud. That is in process, targeting near the end of 2018. But the Cybozu board has approved that, and that is moving forward. That obviously will give us greater reach globally. It'll give us essentially unlimited scale, and it'll give us the ability to reach into lots of different industries, such as government, more so financial healthcare. Along with that, we are branching the Kintone code over to the US. So that's kind of part of the same project, roll out late 2018. Obviously, that'll give us more agility from our own perspective to deal with competitive threats as well as just our customer requirements. We'll be here on the ground in the most competitive software market in the world, and we'll be managing the solution now here in the US starting in next year. Along with those two things, we're also going to be fundamentally transforming our database, our underlying database with Elasticsearch, enabling a much greater performance and basically exponential performance increases with the Elasticsearch model. So all of that is kind of together. Those last three announcements are really huge, really exciting for us. And they're all coming together near the end of 2018. And to wrap up quickly, I know everyone's getting hungry, but I want to quickly wrap here, and hopefully you can see why we're so excited, we're so jazzed, and why we wanted to hold this conference here this year, because of all those kind of exciting things that are coming up in the next year. But really what we're looking to do with all of these, and what our vision is, as Osamu pointed out in the beginning, is to make Kintone easier, faster, and more agile for our clients and for our partners, as well as more powerful. All of those things combined with the tool. But moreover, what we want to continue to do and work with what our Japanese colleagues have already done is to continually improve teamwork and manage digital transformation, not only with the tools, but also by participating in the conversation around culture and around policies and principles. So with that, I'm going to wrap up now, and I want to thank you again, everyone, for coming out. Thank you for joining us here and for joining us on this journey. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.